and welcome to Recurrent Patterns, where we look for interesting patterns in technology, business, and culture. I'm your host, Vaclav Vincalek. Today on Recurrent Patterns, we'll be talking about data analytics in banking. And with me here today is my very, very special guest, Jose Murillo. Jose is the Chief Analytics Officer at Grupo Financiero Banorte, which is the biggest banking group in Mexico. Welcome to the show, Jose.
Hello, Vaclav. It's great to be with you.
Thank you. Now, before we get into the topics of data analytics in banking, if you can start telling people the journey, how you end up with the bank Banorte. What was the journey for you there?
Great. Look, I'm an economist. I studied a PhD in the United States at Rice University. And when I finished my dissertation, I started to work for the central bank, the research department. And I spent quite a long tenure at the central bank. And for my last 10 years there, I was advising the Monetary Policy Committee on inflation rate, and which is the key decision variable for a central bank. And I had a technology group that worked for me, and in statistics. And at some point in my life, when I was in my early 40s, I moved to the private sector. And I moved to Banorte with the idea that they wanted to build a data science team that had a twist at the time that it was, and it's still not very common. The idea was that Banorte wanted to make it a profit center out of this group. And we had steep targets that we needed to meet. And fortunately, we have met them sufficiently. And since I joined Banorte, Banorte was the fourth largest bank at the time in Mexico with a declining profitability. And I guess together with the embracement of data science and data as and an experimentation culture and many other things that the bank has done, we've become the most profitable bank in Mexico, at least before the pandemic, and probably one of the most profitable in North America.
Impressive. And I like definitely, I'm sure that everybody will tune into the most profitable. It's not the revenue, it's how much profit you can generate. And especially, I think it will be interesting to hear for people that it's based on data. And so you basically built the whole data department at the bank, and they took gamble on you, you took gamble on them, and it's highly profitable for the bank. So you basically saved the bank, if I read that correctly.
I think there are many. I think that we unfair to a lot of my colleagues because it's at the end of the day, it's a group. It was a decision of the group, and data alone by itself, it's worthless if you cannot have the business partners that can really help you to propel all your initiatives. And so it's at the end of the day, I truly think that it's a team's effort. On one hand, you require the people from data science to understand business and to be not only good in the technical part, but be able to communicate complex ideas to the business leaders of the different verticals within a group. And for the business leaders, they need to take a leap of faith in data and to change the ways things have been done for lots of times. And so breaking with inertia of the decisions made in the past, it's not easy. And I think Banorte was a fertile ground for people willing to experiment and try new things.
Yes. So, every single time people see data, there are things which once you go through the exercise of collecting the data, making the, massaging the data and making sense of the data, you get something which you say, yes, that's obvious. Why do we do that? And then sometime you have the, people say, yeah, that would be common sense. And then you go back to the data and you find actually exactly the opposite. What was the data which told you which you expected, and something which you say, yeah, that makes sense, that's what we expected, and what would be the example where you suddenly was, wow, I didn't know that we have something like this?
That's a very good question. I think that first of all, you need to make those massive investments in data and having a single source of truth, and that everybody agrees that that's the data that you're using, and that everybody believes that's the right data. And as you say, when you start using the data to enhance your decision-making process, it's like when you have an exam that has been solved. It seems quite easy, but beforehand you didn't have those insights, and then it becomes a way of operating normally. But I remember initially the first projects that we undertook were geared towards cost-cutting strategies, especially on the risk side. And it's one of those things that when you already made the slicing and the dicing of the data, it became kind of obvious that you had different types of customers that were some were more risky than others, and that you could do different things differently and be much more efficient in how you manage your costs and how you translate that into benefits for your customers that gives you an edge and to have a more attractive product for the customers, and you can gain market share. So some of these were kind of obvious in one sense. One, you solve the data problem and you looked at the data, and for example, that one of the things that can seem obvious is that, well, you have people that have different risk profiles, and you should be able to distinguish between them and separate between these different risk profiles and not bunch them together. And or that something that was interesting is that you could have if you wanted to expand your business, you could do it very profitably if you decreased your prices, and that's kind of obvious in some sense. But you need to be able to decrease the prices for the non-risky people, so that you don't mess up. So that's a message that it's not really that amazing. What became more interesting is when we advanced in our data science program and we started to deepen our knowledge of the customer and really understanding very much more their deeper desires that they want, and so that you can have more fruitful conversations with the customer in the sense that you're able to address their concerns at the right time, through the right channel, and give the relevant information to the customers, or even how you want to establish the relationship with the customer, your business relationship. It's I think that it's been a decade since we've become more transactional societies, and becoming transactional with your customer, that really does not root loyalty from the customer with the company. And probably one of the most interesting things is that if you build reciprocal relationships with your customers, then it's something that it's a win-win situation. It's good for the customer and it's good for you in the sense that you can develop deeper and a longer business relationship with the customer. So those are the type of insights that have been more probably after we've moved in the data science program and understand much better the customers, how to be able to have a more personal relationship with our customer, a more reciprocal type of relationship, and how to do it in a way that you're not wasting the time of the customer, and so that you can have the right offer at the right time through the right channel at the right price.
The way how you're describing this, I can definitely hear that you have to work a lot with a marketing department, because to get the right message at the right time through the right channel, of course, it's not done by data scientists. It has to be done in cooperation with the marketing department. And I think that's, I would think that for many organizations, that's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, we have to work coordinately with the marketing department, certainly, with customer experience, with the product, different product lines, with channels. So it's there are many actors that you have to reconcile different points of view, and initially it was something that was quite disruptive in the sense that it's a different way of doing things than we've done in the past, and somehow Banorte, it's an institution that its age it's beyond 130 years, and so in some sense it has been successful in keeping alive for a long time. So suddenly you want to change. And the reason is that you need to change because in a very things need to change if you want things that to be the same in some sense.
Yeah, I think that introducing we hear a lot about data transformation or all these buzzwords which are now around us, and I think that. It has nothing to do with digital, and I don't think it has anything to do with transformation. I think it's understanding the business and adapt the organization to new realities, to how customers expect you to interact with them, how customers, what products they expect or what services they expect from you. I don't think it has anything to do with data and transformation. This is a side effect of what you do.
You're right, and I think that's an issue that we've talked in previous conversations, you and I, and it's a recurring pattern that at the end of the day, it's understanding the business, understanding the people that are running the businesses, and so that you can team up to really transform the way that you're doing business and become each time more efficient and that you can serve better your customers. At the end of the day, that's for us. That's the reason that you exist. La raison d'être. It's basically to serve the customer and to keep him happy.
Yeah, it's actually that simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember, I touched on the marketing topic, and you mentioned your very interesting campaign to understand how to exchange value with your customer by giving away coupons.
Yeah, that's interesting. For example, one of the ways that that's an interesting case. But usually, when you're in a transactional mode, I'll give you a coupon if you do something that I want. That's the type of most companies have of relationship that most companies have with their customers. But what happens if you decide that I'll give you the coupon, and without any strings attached, just to build and trust and a good relationship with you, then you're certainly going to, what we've proven with that in the way that we are changing from a conditional giving to unconditional giving, is that you can triple the effect of obtaining what you want. Because humans, at the end of the day, we are reciprocal beings. The way that we arrived, that culture arrived at the stage that we are now, it's not by measuring every cent that we're and everything that we do for our fellow humans. It's basically because we've trusted the other person that they are going to act on with good faith, and that's at least that's the way that I think that it has been so far. And that if you are able to change the nature of relationship from a business or even from a person to person, instead of doing something that it's purely transactional, something that it's more of a reciprocal kind, it changes the nature of what you can do together. Because when you trust one another, it's like the frontier of what you can do, it's expanded. And I've seen it with our customers. For our customers, suddenly, if the customer believes that you are acting in their best interest, then they'll bring you more business to your company, and they will not only want to have a debit account and a credit card, but they'll want to have their insurance with you. And certainly, if you make a honest mistake in their account and you fix it, and they'll be more willing to forgive you.
Yeah. Actually that resonates with me as a customer, because it always happens that there is a mistake, but it's how you fix the problem, and that's what keeps the relationship going. Yeah. So when I walk into your bank, or how many data points do you need to know about me, so you know exactly which product I would buy? Is it one data point, 10, 20?
That's a hard question. I don't think I can. It's complex, and I think what it happens is that I'm through every interaction I'm learning much more about you, and I'm more precise on how to deal with you. So initially, when you arrive, probably I don't know very much about you. And there's some questions on know your customer that I make, but I really don't really know what are your deep desires. What do you want? Mm-hmm. When do you like to be contacted too often or too little? Do you like to be? How do you like to be addressed? When do you want to be addressed? Through which channel should I address you? And after some interactions, it's ideally it's becoming better. After some time I'm able to have a more personal relationship with you. Before it's more kind of like a general approach that it starts to zoom in as I'm understanding you. In some sense, it's like what does Amazon can tell about you after your first purchase? Probably not much. Mm-hmm. And initially, you bought a camera lens, and they're only going to show you some stuff about cameras and a lot of products on cameras. But as soon as you start also to have to expand your relationship with Amazon, and through time, they start to make more relevant offers to you. And it's the same with us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We build some sort of behavioral map of our customer, and then I have a much better understanding of you. And it's not only your behavior, but also your financials. So it's financials plus consumption, financials plus patterns plus behavioral mapping, because that's the key that you need to understand better the customer.
Yeah. I know it's a story which all the analytics guys always talk about, and I have not found if it happened for sure or if it's just a myth, that father and his daughter go to a supermarket and they buy things, and at the cashier says, "Oh, congratulations," and neither the father nor the daughter knows exactly why they say congratulations, and it's like, "You are pregnant, right?" And of course, it was an awkward moment because the daughter didn't tell the father that she's pregnant. But on combination of the things which they bought, that's somehow triggered, and it came up on the terminal of the cashier. And I don't know if it's the urban legend which people put together like this, but when you another example is that Netflix, when they put movies out, they categorize it with I don't know how many descriptors each movie. The length, how many characters there are, if the main character is a male, female, everything you can imagine. That they have 32,000 data points for every movie. When you're collecting, how do you categorize, or do you go that deep that you can tell that the family in 5 months will be expanding?
No, I so far I'm not able to do that.
Okay, yeah, but it's a great idea, isn't it? So
no, I think, and there's also some. There are a lot of advantages of having this personalized relationship with a customer and having a much deeper understanding. And I guess, for example, in the case moving out of banking, for example, the case of Netflix, and which it's really nice when they make you suggestions of what you might like. There's the counterpart of that is that perhaps you can think it will. The counter argument would be, well, then when are you going to explore new genres? So I like, for example, a lot sci-fi, but I would like from time to time that Netflix shows something different, probably an international film or something like that. And the counter argument would be, well, ideally you would be able to understand that a guy that likes sci-fi, from 20% of their time they like to do something different and explore something else. So I think it's a fantastic time to really understand much better what our humans, and you can and even if you go a little bit more deeper on this, it's how our preferences are determined. Typically, you think that for example, I used to go before the pandemic every Sunday to have lunch with my family at a fancy restaurant, and I would think, well, those are my preferences. But how they were imprinted in your mind, and how did you decide that those were your preferences? It's probably, if I go back and I make a memory, it's because I used to go with my parents on Sunday for lunch. And so suddenly you start to ask yourself, are those my preferences, or they were imprinted like the Lawrence Gosling story? And suddenly it's you start to discover that you might like something different, and in that I think that that even the use of artificial intelligence, at the end of the day, it's going to make us understand us much better, and to really make us happier at the end of the day.
That's interesting thought. That's yes. We will have to talk about this more in the future, because this is very, very interesting topic. Whether what we do, it's really how much control we have over what we do, right? And how much is basically influence, and we don't even know about it. Yeah. That's and again, it can be very slippery slope, right? And we get exposed to through various messaging out there, through channels, and it's easy to say through media, but it's more than that. How actually our actions are influenced. By the way, how big is your team?
That's a good question, Vaclav. Initially, when I built the team, the idea was that we were going to have 10 really smart people. And I've been in this position for a little bit over almost 6 years. And the team size increased. We're about 80 with the CRM that it's reporting to analytics. So that's something that a very good mix, because that gives the muscle to the brains to implement a lot of the ideas. And last year, this team of 80 people yielded a little bit over $1 billion in net revenue for the company in analytics related projects.
80 people, $1 billion.
Yeah, after it's a mature team that it was not like that in the first.
No, I understand. I think that yes, definitely many organizations can learn from you to how to generate with 80 people $1 billion. Yes, it's not a startup, true, but to some extent you inserted startup within a very mature organization.
That's right. It's the culture of the startup at the end of the day of what we do, in the sense that it's a very entrepreneurial driven team, in the sense that it's since the way that it was designed as a profit center as opposed to a cost center, and I think that has helped for us to move at a faster pace.
So, how do you see the future? What do you think it's coming?
Well, I think the future for everybody right now, it's been disrupted by the pandemic, and what we get out of it, it's still yet to be seen. But I think there are going to be three main forces that are shaping the future. One is that we're going to be accelerating all the digitization efforts in almost every industry. And that's going to be very disruptive. Because if what we have seen before the pandemic was already at a fast pace, we're moving up to hyperspeed. And that's going to be a big change. And the second force that is shaping this, I think that as I was saying previously, the preferences of the consumers are changing in the sense that a lot of things that people thought that they liked, probably it's going to be questioned. And those fancy cars, those nice meals at expensive restaurants, suddenly people are thinking again. They they've been had the chance to savor homemade meals again, and some people are liking what they're tasting. And so, to put it in a couple of words, I think first is digitization. Second, it's consumers are knocking themselves down to a lower consumption curve. That it's going to be a challenge for the economy to deal with it. And I think the third force that it's partly as a result of what we've been living and of these changes in preferences. The mode of a lot of people are talking about it's the mode of the way that we are working and what we are producing. It's necessarily going to change,
mm-hmm.
and that's going to create a very large disruption. So my impression is that the future is that it's going to be a bimodal future in which you're going to have winners and losers. And the winners are those who are better at adapting at the new environment, who are able to, in a very Darwinian sense, adapt to a different way on how you engage with the customer, how you satisfy the needs of the customer, and that you are really smart in understanding the shifting patterns that we will be facing, and those who are able to draw and attract talent, top talent, that they can. It's now more than ever. It's a matter of the brain, not of the muscle that you have, and those who are able, and we're going the way that I'm seeing. It's a very intense competition. That the winner is going to be those that are able to draw talent, to understand a very changing environment on which we are going to be operating, and that's not only for my bank or any bank or the financial industries, but something that is valid for any industry.
Yes. Thank you, Jose. That was awesome conversation. Every single time I learn something new and lots of things to think about. That's for sure. Thank you for that.
Thank you for having me, Vaclav. I love talking.
So for everybody watching and interested in getting in touch with you, they can find you on LinkedIn, or where else they can get a hold of you?
LinkedIn, it's surely they put my name and Banorte, I think that they'll find me.
Perfect. Thank you. Very good. So that's all for now. Thank you, Jose, for your time. It was absolutely amazing conversation. Thank you. And for everybody else, thank you and see you next time.